Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Your purchase and pricing question email line for your questions about buying this or any watch you see here on Watchbox Reviews. Email me at tmosso@thewatchbox.com. And today we're discussing the sensation of Baselworld 2014. This timepiece, the gray side of the moon from the Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch collection, was a singular statement of materials capability and innovation by Omega. A timepiece entirely in gray ceramic, 44.25 millimeters in diameter, with a combination of polished facets and satination, as you would see on a standard metal watch. In terms of its girth, the timepiece is a healthy 16.3 millimeters, but nicely cropped from lug to lug, 49.6 millimeters end to end, with a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. All of that means that while the watch is fairly thick and broad, it's not particularly long across the wrist, wearing easily in spite of its substantial size. Also, principally composed of sapphire and ceramic, the watch is feather light on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, with a nice broad 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs, giving it a good planted stance. The timepiece includes a matching, contrasting stitch, gray, large rectangular scale alligator leather strap with a underside composed of a black calfskin with a contrasting red stitch. As you can see, Omega over-engineering this strap with a gusseting system made of rubber so that you don't accidentally gouge the strap, prolonging its life in service and prolonging the life of the pin and the buckle. Both are crafted from a sort of plasma-arced, high-polished ceramic, so they have the same scratch-resistant qualities as the case, and as you can see, double finished with satinated sides and high-polished tops. Now, jumping back the case, you could see that longitudinal satin as you'd find on a conventional moonwatch, but rather than a polished bevel, you have a polish that looks exactly like high-polished grade 5 titanium, and this is the materials science capability of Swatch Group and Omega, able to create the look of metal where none exists. All of this ceramic and of course almost impossible to scratch, thus the longevity of this beautiful finish standing out, is it's likely to look the same as the day you bought it 10, 20, even 30 years after purchase. Polished crown and chronograph pushers, there is a luminescent Omega logo inside the crown, and then satination circular around the tachymeter scale. The entire tachymeter, by the way, is fully loomed. And we move on to the dial. We have more impressive materials. There's a lovely box section sapphire to give you a little bit of a plexiglass look. And then the dial itself, as you can see at center, PT950, it is a media blasted sandpaper-like solid platinum dial with white gold blackened indices and hands of high polish for contrast. You have a mono counter over at 3 o'clock for chronograph minutes and hours to create a pleasing and symmetrical twin counter chronograph register. Also note that there are dished profiles for the chapter rings to allow easier reading of the sub-registers, as well as to create another focal plane for the eye. When you turn the watch over, Omega exclusive caliber 9300, water resistant down to 50 meters. What you're looking at is a column wheel vertical clutch chronograph, automatic winding with a 60-hour power reserve, pivoting on 54 joules. It features a stop seconds function when you pull the crown out. As you can see, I halt that balance, turn the watch over, you can see everything has been stopped. I can also pull the crown out to an intermediate position to advance the hour hand independently while the watch, including the chronograph, continues to keep time, and I can adjust the date forward or backwards with no hazard to the movement. Wonderful for folks who travel. Now, the timepiece also includes, I should mention, a couple of other refinements that are a lot of fun to play with, such as the vertical clutch chronograph. The vertical clutch coupling has no play. Unlike a lateral clutch here, there is no jump when you actuate the chronograph. It simply starts without any error. You'll also appreciate the fact that thanks to the vertical clutch, you can leave the chronograph running with no additional wear or tear to the mechanism. So you can have your seconds, minutes, and hours at center. Just ignore the chronograph, minutes and hours, and you've got your 3 action hands at center. It is a coaxial chronometer. We'll talk a little bit about that, but first you can see the black polished column wheel underneath the skeletonized bridge. So coaxial, it uses the George Daniels coaxial in the most current tri-level arrangement. You can actually just barely see the coaxial and its spiral-like blades of the escape wheel underneath the balance bridge. balance bridge with a free sprung index, the full balance bridge and the free sprung index making the watch shock resistant, the silicon hairspring making the watch anti-magnetic, and the 25,200 vibration per hour beat rate is specific to these coaxial movements. Now, the tri-level coaxial is both a direct and indirect impulse escapement. It is designed with tangential contact between the impulsing and impulsed surfaces to reduce the friction, increase the power reserve, increase the precision, and reduce the maintenance requirements. And this system is one of the reasons Omega felt confidence moving to 5-year warranties on these watches. Now, the watch is adjusted to 5 positions like a chronometer. The timepiece is handsomely finished with arabesque Cote de Genève in a spiral form over the bridges and plates. You'll also note black polish to the column wheel, black polish to some of the screws, and the other screws that are not black polished are black oxidized rather than blued, and there is an engine-turned perlage on the base plate. It is all mechanically finished, but it is handsomely designed and thoughtfully so. This is one of the great watches of our era. Email tmosso at thewatchbox.com to purchase this latter-day legend. And we're back with the fully loomed dial and tachometer of the Omega Gray side of the moon. You can even see that the crown on the 3 o'clock side is loomed.